Welcome to episode 32 of Rebirth Revolution. My name is Melissa Olson. I've gone through the mental exercise of what would I do if none of my family could be home for a holiday. In my mind, I stepped through the day, finding nuggets of joy throughout, and at the end of the mental exercise, I was quite proud of myself for being healthy enough to be able to be alone on a big day. So on Sunday, I had my first shot at the reality of not being able to be with my family. We were all staying home due to the pandemic, and so for the first time ever, I was alone. Never in my life have I been alone on a major holiday. Holidays were very big when I was growing up. My family went all out on the big days, and I was thrilled to continue the tradition when I had a family of my own. The planning, the cooking and baking, the gathering of us all felt triumphant. It was exhausting and wonderful. The holidays have always been about how you can make other people feel through your efforts. Making memories for children was always the first priority, with adults enjoying each other coming in a close second. The shared cooking and baking efforts, an important way to contribute and show new ideas. I'm a big fan of the holidays, but what is a holiday when you're on your own? In my mental exercise, I had decided that I would still cook and bake, just in different quantities. I would watch the old movies, like Easter Parade with Judy Garland and Fred Astaire, which my sons would have no interest in. I would have no schedule and no pressure. So I had the supplies to carry out that day. I was ready to do Easter alone. It didn't start off as well as I had hoped. Prior to 5 a.m., there was a huge hailstorm that hit the side of my house where my bedroom is. It was so ferocious that it sounded like a freight train rolling through. I was terrified, which is a pretty unusual feeling for me. The hail was big enough and strong enough that it knocked holes in the trim around my window. The fact that the windows didn't break is kind of a miracle. I had to quickly deactivate the alarm system so I could run downstairs to get away from it. I then just sat in the family room in the dark with twinkle lights and worked at getting steady. Within a couple of minutes, I got a flash scent that was unmistakably Nelson family fudge. There is no other scent like that of the fudge recipe that my family would make when I was growing up. Mind you, the only chocolate that I have right now is double bagged and in the pantry. There is no source of the chocolate scent anywhere to be found. And the scent of this fudge is not just chocolate, it's super specific. Nelson family fudge was a tricky recipe that had weird ingredients like cream of tartar and bitter baking chocolate squares. It was not at all like the marshmallow cream type of fudge that people make now. There were multiple phases to the cooking, and if you blew any of these stages, it would be a sloppy, runny, crystalline mess. Not that the failed version didn't taste good. It just became fudge you ate with a spoon instead of cutting it with a knife. I grew up in a house that had no junk food, no sodas, nothing of the comfort food that people buy now. Everything we ate was from scratch. Our comfort and joy came in the form of either homemade popcorn or fudge. So here I am, in the near dark, at 5 o'clock in the morning, on my own, facing my first holiday alone, but I wasn't. My parents, both on the other side, sent me a reminder of the comfort and joy we shared when they were still here. It stilled my heart and changed the trajectory of my day. Had I turned on the TV to obsess over the Weather Channel, I would have missed the holiday gift. This is the brilliance of the dark and the quiet. You are in the perfect position to receive gifts from those who love you. It is easy in this world to feel like you're alone, especially during this pandemic. The truth is that you are never alone. You have your guides who are watching out for you and offering guidance at all times, and you have loved ones who are no longer in this particular school, who have the ability to send you the virtual hug you need when you need it. The combination of those who are supporting you from the other realms create the ultimate in support teams. Sometimes we are so wrought with missing people who are no longer here that our heads and hearts are unable to recognize that they are right there with you, trying to make it better, trying to let you know that they are fine. I picture the frustration they must feel when they are sitting next to you on the couch and you are crying about them not being there. The hand waving and shouting they try is of no use when we are fully committed to feeling bad about where they are now and too full of chaos to receive what they are trying to give us. They can help guide us to the next shiny penny we need along the path of our spiritual awareness adventure. They can help us figure out something that plagues us by dropping a hint that we wouldn't have thought of on our own. They can give us a nudge to contact someone who will tell us the next piece of information that we need. They can speak to us through a random song or influence us to pick up a book that contains the wisdom we need. When I suggest living a life that is more in touch with our intuition, I'm suggesting that we make this space and create the quiet in our minds so we can receive all that is being offered to us. You are not on this journey alone, ever. You have a team that is ready to teach you, soothe you, and embrace you when you are at your lowest. You just need to let them do their thing. I made it through Easter on my own, piecing together things I wanted to do, strung together with missing everyone. I made some popcorn and watched a movie. I thought about how glorious it will be when we can celebrate together again. I've always loved family celebrations, but there was some part of me that thought they were a given. I've never had a major holiday that was not a celebration with the people I love. It's deeply humbling and instructive to recognize that this is not guaranteed. My inner toddler wants what she wants when she wants it. She is given to producing thoughts that reflect any toddler who has missed a couple of meals and a much-needed nap. Those thoughts now make me laugh because they're the thoughts of a spoiled brat. So I lovingly wrap her in a blanket and tell her to sleep it off. It is good to not get what you want when you want it sometimes. We tend to not think about the meaning or value of events and people until we have no other option. What my inner toddler tells me is that my comfort and joy are inextricably linked to the presence of other people. That seems reasonable for a toddler, but it isn't reasonable for a grown-up. A grown-up needs to be able to find their own comfort and joy. Many of us are getting that opportunity now, which we would not be doing unless we were forced to. Understanding that you are responsible for your comfort and joy means that you will love your people and your gatherings for deeper reasons than that they simply appeal to your inner toddler. You will have a deeper understanding of why they are to be cherished. My parents gave me a little mystical boost on Easter. Thanks, Mom and Dad. I suspect you two are on the other side arguing about who made the best Nelson family fudge. Guess I'll need to add cream of tartar to my next grocery list to see if I can get in on the action. One of the ways I've been spending my time while being stuck at home is to binge watch the TV show, Who Do You Think You Are? It's a show that takes one person who you would recognize as famous in some capacity and traces their roots back. It is truly one of my favorite shows ever. I think it should be shown in every history class. History is very personal, and this show does a wonderful job of demonstrating that. We get to see how people's families arrived in this country. They show all the different reasons that our ancestors needed to flee from their countries of origin. There were wars, famines, religious oppression, and epidemics of one sort or another, to name a few. It was never a situation where people had a super cool life and decided to come here for something even better. Some didn't even choose to come here. They were dragged. It's pretty much all rooted in what we would label as tragedy. It is all very dark. If you are not of Native American origins, your family stands on the shoulders of those who endured this darkness. You wouldn't be here had they given up. If you are of Native American origins, that's its own very dark story. Once people arrived in America, their lives were no picnic either. Many had no freedom when they arrived, either through indentured servitude or just plain slavery, which did not have a contractual end date. The conditions people lived in were difficult and often deadly. Many didn't survive. The stories then cover generations that experienced unthinkable hardships along with the benefits of family and work and home. In many family lines, there was some sort of theme that emerged that connected people who lived generations ago with those who are alive now. Some struggle with the very same issues that the current generation may not have seen as a generational curse or unfinished business that they are still struggling with from hundreds of years ago. It's so important to honor those who have gone before us. They deserve our respect, our understanding, and our willingness to carry their legacies forward. I have a business called The Gift of Memories that is devoted to capturing the stories of those who were here long before we were. It is driving me crazy that I can't capture their stories during this pandemic due to safety concerns. The time we are in right now is just another amazing tale of what they have seen in their time, as it is in yours. I look forward to getting back into that work once we are safe to be together again. We tend to form the questions about the past after it's too late to ask those who were involved. We tend to be so caught up in the struggles that have to do with our life, so much so that we forget that others went through the same or more. I live on the prairie, and when I think of families crossing the country, shielded by nothing but a wagon cover made of canvas, I am astounded that anyone survived. The winds and brutal cold on certain days here make being outside life-threatening. But people did it. They brought families, had families along the trail, and buried family along the trail. My ancestors built a life in the brutal conditions that North Dakota offered. The stories of what they endured are heartbreaking as well as inspiring. The fortitude and sense of optimism that our ancestors possessed were unshakable. They got knocked down time and time again, only to rise to face that and every challenge that followed. Had they not done so, you would not be here to face the challenge that we face right now. If they had not been resilient, we wouldn't be here. Future generations are counting on us to keep this going. Fortunately, we have the same blood coursing through our veins that they had. We have their shoulders to stand on. Their bravery isn't limited to the stories we hear. They are a part of our DNA. We have the capability to remain positive, to step through this challenge using the best of our thinking, our integrity, and our deepest levels of love and compassion for ourselves and others. None of us know what is coming next, but neither did our ancestors. Since none of us know what will happen, we need to recognize that those who see things darkly have no more credibility than those who see a future that is brighter. Envision what you want to come next. Envision what you want to carry forward. Open yourself up to support from those in other realms who may be able to help you see something even more magnificent than you can currently imagine. You have way more power in determining the outcome than you think. Thanks to those of you all around the globe who listen to Rebirth Revolution. I really appreciate your time and your willingness to open up to another point of view. One act of service you can perform while stuck at home is to open up the world of podcasts to anyone you know who doesn't currently listen. There's estimated to be 900,000 podcasts at this point. Imagine all that content. The access to all of these is getting easier all the time. There's a new podcast app called Good Pods, where you can listen to Rebirth Revolution and see what others are listening to. It looks like it's simple to use, so might be a good place for new users to get started. Until next week, stay open, especially with the world shutting down. Act with integrity. Open your input channels to the unseen, and see if you can find out about what your ancestors survived to make your life possible. Remember, you're loved exactly as much as every other person on the planet, not 1 ounce more or 1 ounce less. Stay strong and be safe.